I can't go back to you, my friend. Don't even ask, don't play pretend.
You know you left me lonely, I could tell them the whole story. It may take a couple hours, I've got time, let's get the chat to how could I explain the situation. Man, it's so damn complicated, where do I start, where do I end? I should go back to bed, I'm going back to all the basics, teaching myself now how to erase it. It's like learning a whole new language, and I'm afraid, too scared to face it. I just want consistent clarity, but all my thoughts destroy. Give me some peace of mind, it's all I need. Give peace to all of my family. I can't go back to you, my friend. Don't even ask, don't play pretend. You think you are everything I need, but I gotta leave. Travel can't get through to me, it's not you, yeah, it's always me. I close my heart to you, you see it opens up for nobody. It's been so hard to fall asleep, the weather always makes my nose bleed, makes my nose bleed. It's so hard to believe that one day I'll feel peace. I want control over my life, I want that driver's seat. Yeah, it's not you that I need, you push me down when I'm weak. You were never there for me, go pick up your keys and leave. I can't go back to you, my friend. Don't even ask, don't play pretend. You think you're everything I need, but I gotta can't go back to you, my friend. Don't even ask, don't play pretend. Cause you think you are everything I need, but I gotta leave.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
What is going on, Hive? I hope everybody slept good. If you were in the live last night, we were up here till what, 3 in the morning? Had some technical difficulties for the late night dig that was supposed to start at 9:30, and I had to completely restart. Tried to get a little bit too cute with the stream setup, so I have simplified everything. The super chats and tips will still pop up on the screen, but I'm done with the voice thing. I just can't do it. I tried way too hard. And it ended up ruining like 2 streams because it would echo and all that shit. So I don't want to put you guys through it. You know, my goal is to give you all the best viewing experience. If this is your first time tuning into the Hive Mind, welcome. I'm your host, Birdie. I go live every weeknight at 7 p.m. Central, including Sunday evenings. Saturday, I tend to pop on whenever I get a second. This is a contrarian thinking live stream. What does that mean? Well, we think past the headlines. So if you are offended on behalf of others, or if you get rattled easily, to be honest, if you're just kind of soft, you don't understand what a discussion amongst people is. I know it's a big word for some of the fluoridated folks out there. It's called discussion. Okay. Doesn't mean that we believe it. It doesn't mean that it's all facts. This is a place where you can come and hang out and you can speak your mind. I have incredible mods. They're not going to kick you or ban you unless you're trolling, threatening, spamming. Okay. I think we have had to kick 2 or 3 people since I've started doing this, even back on TikTok. And so if you are new here, welcome. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm trying something out with the subscriber only chat. So everything that I do is free. I'm never going to charge for a stream. Okay. The Discord is free. And I know that there's a lot of people that don't understand Discord. Guys, it's super easy. Okay. If you're interested in joining the Discord, let me just start off with showing everybody this, because if you are going to be tuning in regularly, joining our Discord is worth it. It's awesome. It's essentially a messaging board. Okay. And so there's different like text chains or message chains. So you're going to go to my YouTube channel after hitting subscribe, press the more links button and click right here. If you have an iPhone or if you're going to use it on your Android, go to the App Store and download Discord first. There's a couple verifications, so it's safe. We want to make sure you're human and you're not a bot. Takes 2 minutes. And that's where I pull Hive Mind finds from. I do questions of the day in there. And like I said, if you're going to be tuning in, that will be the 24/7 HQ for off-stream updates. Yeah, and technically, JJ UK, this is twice in one day. You know? So it's a super fun community. The Hive is like-minded people when it comes to open minds. Okay? Maybe you're the tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist in your friend group. That's what we do here. It pisses people off too. It's incredible. You know, I was talking with some of the mods this morning. We have a text chain. And it's incredible how people get so upset about, you know, me asking questions to hundreds while yet the news lies to millions. Have we ever thought about that concept? I actually took that from Mr. Smixon, who defended me on X, saying that I'm somehow doing something wrong by asking questions about stuff. I don't dox people. The Discord, we don't dox. And yet it's funny because all we ever use is public information, yet people want to try and say we're doing something we're not. So if you don't understand what the Hive is, that's probably why you don't like it. And yeah, good luck. We're battle hardened here. We don't give a shit. You can say whatever you want. That's the entire premise of free speech and the freedom to think out loud. You should exercise the right to think out loud while you still can, as I've been joking around before Neuralink puts a taser on your nuts that if you start to think in a way they don't want you to, they'll just zap you. Or they'll drone strike your house when you start to have a free thought and think for yourself. So I want to go ahead and I want to say what's up to everybody. These streams on Saturdays, you know, I have some people too that are like, enough with the fluff in the intro. Get to what you're going to talk about. Well, guys, what we're doing here too is we're building a community. Okay. I want this to succeed in the long haul. How does that work? How do you get something to succeed in the long run? Well, it's not just me coming up here and being prepared and barking into the mic, right? It's making sure that you all feel like you're acknowledged and like you're heard. So I've started to shy away from having as many guests, and I have started to really hone in on the chat. Now, I'm not perfect. Okay. I never ignore anybody's comments on purpose. I just want to make sure that you all are aware of that is my goal. I'm here for the long run. I'm appreciative of everybody that is tuning in right now. So Gabby girl, good to see you. Court, how are you doing? Who was in here last night till 3 with us? Type of 1 if you were. The other thing about these morning streams too, they're a little bit smaller of chats. You get a little bit more intimate with the Hive and the conversations. What's up, UFO dog? Amanda B from West Virginia. Oh yeah, we got some people that I got some people that were hanging out. They were grinding it out with me. Samantha says, I love the show, even though we have time difference. I'll always rewatch it then. Yeah, thank you. Do you guys Can you guys let me know, just yes or no as well? Is it worth my time to continue to do these quick cuts of the live recap updates? Because last night I had to do 2 lives because it restarted. I'm just going to combine that into one quick cut. Those are usually 30 minutes. Do you guys like those? If you can't make the entire 90-minute stream on average, I figured that it's, you know, one of those things that it allows people to at least be brought up to speed and catch up. You know, I have no problem doing it. It takes a lot of time, but if you guys enjoy them, okay, cool. Cool. What's going on? True to it, and Miss Q and Susie, Kim Martin, Philly Special, Angela, thank you. Do whatever you feel is good. Great advice. It's either hell yes or no, right? That's a great way to live your life. If something doesn't make you say hell yes, well, then it's a no. And if you start doing that, you probably stop being spread too thin and you'll start being a little bit happier. Kaylee, what's going on? Good to see you. Tuning in from Great Britain. Always watch the full replays. Don't want to miss anything. And let me get this up on screen here. So, what are we going to be talking about? Why isn't this? Come on, click. There we go. So, what we're going to be talking about today, and, you know, we spend a lot of time talking about Brian Koberger and the Idaho 4. We talk a lot about we've talked a lot about the Charlie Kirk situation, the Epstein. The main point of the Hive is narrative versus evidence. Okay, what is the 40,000-foot view? Why are they putting this in our face? One of the things that I find as such an odd dichotomy between the Charlie Kirk situation and the Brian Koberger situation is how we all saw Charlie Kirk have his neck shot and it explodes on social media, on platforms that you can't even say certain words and they'll give you a strike. Yet they let us see that. Does anybody find that weird? That they let us see that and it gets tens of millions of views all over the world. Because it, you know, for periods of time it was on Facebook, it was on it, I guess Instagram you can have it, and X you can have it, but you know, it was everywhere. Why do they let you see that? But I show a suspicious figure on a roof that's in a prone position and my live gets cut down and I get thrown in YouTube jail for that. Which I don't know if these companies realize it. That only makes people motivated to continue to look deeper. It's like whenever, you know, the example I use is Candace Owens. Okay. This has nothing to do about if you like her, if you hate her. I don't really care what you think about her. Nor am I here to tell you my opinion on her. But here's what these companies don't understand. These news organizations, these mainstream media people. Whenever you tell people don't go and listen to them, whenever you say they are spreading something that's wrong, okay, at least if you're wired like me, I turn that channel off and I'm like, I'm going to go watch and see what Candace is saying. I want to go and listen to the person that you're telling me that I can't listen to. You know, that's what they don't understand. They don't get that people are so sick and tired of having people think for them. When did that change? Why did that change? Who gave these people the right to determine what we can and can't see, what we can and can't listen to, what we can and can't say? Who are you people? Who are you? And who gave you that right? And it's pretty insane. And then also, too, the mainstream media's first line of defense is really these NPC robots. And if you don't know what NPC means, I get asked that all the time. It means non-playing character. So if you've ever played a video game and the characters that just exist in the game and nobody's controlling them, they just kind of walk like, you know, very slow and robotic and like turn their head like that. Like, well, there's real life NPCs. I'm convinced that there's people that don't have an internal dialogue. They don't have a brain. They're just existing. I see it at the grocery store a lot. I'm like, it's interesting. If you ever just look around the grocery store, I'm like, are these people even like alive? Are they even aware that they're here? And those type of people that they hear somebody like Birdie saying, oh my God, they're not repeating the fact that Brian Koberger's in it, or that he's guilty. He might be innocent. That's what they do. And they lose their mind because they're emotionally immature. You know, don't get emotionally triggered. We're talking about the 40,000 foot view here. And I don't get it. Do you guys know, could somebody sum up in a sentence why people go and defend these giant mainstream media talking points? Is it like a how they view the world, like their worldview? Is it their self-confidence? What do you think that is, guys? I can't put my finger on it. I don't understand. Court just said they're straight up paid. No, not an NPC. You might say you're not an NPC. That might be an NPC move. You know, what do you guys say to fit in? Brainwashing. Redman says, I think they just want to believe that these people in these high positions are telling them the truth and they don't want to hear anything else. So that's very true. I mean, it's a logical thought. Misinformation says they're brainwashed into thinking whatever they say is the truth. We are programmed to believe the media. We go to them for everything we believe now. Good morning, Becky. Miss Q says the fear of expressing their own thoughts. Wow. Top dog comment. That's deep. That is deep. Think about that. What's going on, Shane? Thank you for joining. You know, the fear of expressing their own thoughts. Is it because they're afraid of someone disagreeing with them? What's up, Detective Mowry? You know, is that why? Are they the people that are, you know, afraid that if they speak their mind and somebody disagrees with what they view as their truth, they shudder? They're shaking in their boots. Oh my God, some stranger on the internet disagreed with me. I gotta go dox them. Like, these people will stop at nothing. You know, like I disagree with a lot of people that I see on the internet. 99% of the time, I don't even say anything if they're doing it in a way that is like passionate, if it's genuine, if it's authentic. But when you have these people that just give this fake outrage, it's just like, shut the hell up. We're sick of you people. Yeah, misinformation says they don't want to be outcasts like us. It's all right. It's all right. I personally, I thrive in that environment. Do you guys? I'm doing well inside your bones. How are you doing? Wolfpack says, I think people from the South don't believe the mainstream bullshit. We aren't brainwashed down here, just saying. I mean, I don't know if you could say it's just a geographical location, but is there a reason why you think that? You think people just don't go along with it down South? I guess like I said, I'm up in the Midwest area, so. Sherlock's in the hazel. We got, because humans are generally conflict avoidant and will usually default to the comforting idea over the uncomfortable truth. You can't handle the truth. Actually, there's probably people in their own heads that go, I can't handle the truth. I cannot handle the truth. Right? There's people that probably say that to themselves. Somebody else think for me. You know, it's crazy. What's Gucci, my Louis Phoenix? Yeah, we are all outcasts. Who cares? Good. We'll build our own. Discord Dawn was good. Good to see everybody this morning. Is anybody hurting from last night? My mods were clipping a couple seconds of the live in part 2. As you know, those Friday nights are a little bit more lax. I'll have a couple bush lattes. People might peer pressure me to shotgun a few of them. But there's a moment in part 2 where you're just like, and that's when it hit them. You know, I'm just sitting there like, yeah, you know, I've just been kind of doing me tonight. I have no idea. Like, I obviously was not like trashed, but I started to think to myself, like, wow, it's like when you're a little bit tipsy at the bar and you break the seal for the first time and you look in the mirror. I don't know if anybody else does this, but I have this tendency of like where I look in the mirror when I'm washing my hands and I'm like, damn, I'm a little bit lit right now. That little self-talk, the pep talk in the mirror after taking a piss. That's the hand wave that I was doing last night. What's going on, Christina Young? Sherlock said someone did end up breaking into your car last night. Really? So you weren't just paranoid. Last night, Sherlock came in and said, I swear to God, somebody was just outside in my car or by my car following me. So someone did break into your car last night. You missed most of the stream because you had to deal with it. Wow. Well, yeah, you got to lock your doors, Sherlock. Yeah. Wolfpack says, especially with Charlie Kirk, they're saying this shit is enough. We are tired of being lied to by those high up in the government that we are supposed to trust. The other thing that I don't like about what the media does is, and they're really good at this. Obviously, this is their bread and butter. Can I ask you guys to be honest amongst friends here and with me, and I'll be honest with you guys. Has the media ever shaped your opinion on whether it be a talk show host, whether it be an athlete, a celebrity, but then you actually listen to what they're saying? You're like, damn, I kind of agree with them. But you didn't like them until you actually tuned in. Can anybody actually admit that? Because you have to admit that you're judging people. I've done that. I've done that where I've been like, damn, that I don't think I would agree. They seem weird, and then I listen to them. I'm like, damn, it's actually exactly what I think. Sarah Amateur Sleuth says yes, sadly. What's going on, Miss Jess? Yeah. Detective Mowry said not in 15 years. Detective Mowry, how old are you? How long have you been red pilled? Miss Anonymous says on occasion, but I don't watch daily. I see clips. Harry Potter's beard said yes. I believed Amber Heard about JD. Then I watched the trial and felt guilty. So you woke up at, what would that be, 21? I feel like waking up in your late teens to early 20s. I feel like you either wake up then or you wake up like, what would you say? If you don't wake up early, is it when you have kids? Is it when you're sick of your job? Is it maybe when you kind of get kicked in the teeth for the first time by the system? I mean, Angela says, Birdie, I honestly didn't know that the news media or mainstream was lying to us until a couple of years ago. Like I just didn't know it. Now I have a whole different outlook on this. Top dog, Angela. Takes a lot to admit that. It's so much easier to continue along, or it's so much easier to continue to go along with being played than to admit you got played. Thank you, Aubrey J, for the super chat. The graphic Charlie Kirk videos were on repeat, primed for fear and inaction. Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know about you guys. I told this story before, but I was sitting right here prepping for the stream that evening, and my wife was at the gym, and she texted me. She goes, "Oh my God, Charlie Kirk got shot. He's in critical condition." So I'm like, "What?" And I opened up X, and it was the first thing I saw, and I texted her. I'm like, "Yeah, he's dead. Like if that is not a fake video or whatever, like he's dead. You're not living through that. If he would have lived through that, that would have been some sort of miracle." Like I hate to say that, because that's, I don't know, Maybe that's negative. But guys, I saw that and I've seen some weird shit on the internet, you know, some dark side of Reddit and X where it's like you just see people dying on the internet. Hate when I see that, but it just, dude, I felt sick. Felt sick to my stomach when I saw that. You know? No, you have the best name. Thank you, Aubrey. Sherlock says the Gunderson footage, this is obviously talking about the Idaho 4 case, but it seems like he was feeling and sussing out the neighbors to get ahead of anyone who genuinely saw something that night. It feels like we are, or he was pursuing damage control, narrative control. Absolutely. I also think that shit, some of them seemed like, how weird is it that all of them, every single door that he knocked on, within 5 seconds, they're there, and it's everybody in the apartment that's there. And they all say, I was up late, or, oh, I was home late, or I was working late, but I didn't hear anything. That they all said that. They all said that. Everybody in that building. And also, here's what's crazy too. There's a lot of people that weren't students that lived in that apartment complex. They wouldn't have gotten the vandal alert. Or correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they would have. Because isn't that a school? That's not like a Moscow thing. That's a University of Idaho vandal alert. We got Detective Dr. Seuss saying Gundy rhymes with Bundy. My pal Sal Vintage says question everything. Amen to that. Shell says all of these cops were doing damage control. Genuinely confused. Seemed like it was not that day, or they're scripted to say they didn't see anything. I also thought it was weird too, Redman. So Redman said there's no way those people didn't hear anything that night. I don't know if you guys have watched that, but you know, one of the things that we're going to go into tomorrow is that footage again. The guy who goes, I didn't hear any gunshots, but somebody had texted me to see if I was okay because they heard gunshots. Does Gunderson dive into that at all? Who texted you that they heard gunshots? You know what I mean? You got Fiddlesticks, that cat, which is honestly, it's a beautiful white cat running around. I think, Glenn, you just kind of, if you had to sum up the silence, I think not only were they told to be quiet, I think you're right, Glenn. I think the town is scared shitless. Does anybody else find it very odd that it's becoming a norm to where am I going with this? Let me get to the next. Does anybody find it odd right here if you look at the picture on screen? It's becoming a norm to tear down crime scenes. Let's name a few crime scenes that got torn down. Okay. At the end of the day, the Twin Towers, they took those down. Okay. They're destroying a crime scene. You got the King Road house. You got the Charlie Kirk assassination site, Sandy Hook. I'm saying all these trigger words for the algorithm. We love YouTube. YouTube's the best. You know, they do it fast as hell too. Whoever just said that. True to it connections, yes. Yes, Angela, I did see that. One of them was Anon, or however the hell you say his name. Einan, whatever. How do you say that dude's name? Anon? Because there's also the people. One of my other things, it's like, look, I have a really, like, my government name is really hard to pronounce. Okay. And my government last name is really hard to pronounce. So I'm used to having my name said wrong. It does not bother me, especially playing sports and traveling to the visitor and away teams. I don't care. The amount of people that get so triggered about someone not saying a name right. Guys, if you don't know how to say a name or pronounce a name, like, for God's sakes, it's like, say it right. It's like, I tried. I have a lisp. I'm from Wisconsin. I got a Midwest accent, and I had to go to speech class till I was in 5th grade. Okay? I had a speech impediment. which I don't know if you guys can hear it sometimes. Hopefully not. I'm not like self-conscious about it, but if I ever stutter, that's kind of what it is. Which is kind of funny because I would have never thought that I would be hosting a stream. You know, people like how I say Vegas. Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate that. Oh, Miss Jess says, at least you don't have the Avery accident, which is or the accent. That's up in Manitowoc. That's yeah, that's like a different part of Wisconsin. There's parts of Wisconsin in the Midwest. I don't know. The Midwest is you don't really know what you're gonna get. There's like three different types of people. You got like your cities and the suburbs, but then when you get outside the city or the suburbs in the Midwest, you have no idea what you might see. People get excited about truck stops. There's a truck stop out in Iowa. It's like the biggest truck stop I've ever seen. It looks like a damn amusement park. If you've ever driven, what highway is that goes all the way out from the lake through Iowa out to Nebraska? What? Bagel. Well, that makes me feel good. You guys haven't noticed it then. Nice. I-80. Yeah. What's going on, Shane? Good to see you. We got anybody tuning in from the Midwest, like a Minnesota? I think Gabby girl's from Minnesota or Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa. Any Midwest folk in here? Shells, top dog. Thank you. Shells said, Birdie, don't forget to read those highlighted comments out loud so I can keep playing Dr. Mario while I listen. Thank you. That's a great coaching tip. I saw that in the comments that sometimes I don't say what it is that I put on screen, and there's people that like to listen to this as a podcast kind of in the background. So if I ever am not doing that, please remind me. I do not take any offense to that. Thank you, Shells. Goyam says 20 knock. One thing is certain, nothing is certain. Well said. And again, how do you say Goyam's? Are you just playing a pun on news, or is that? I asked you last night. I can't remember what you said in the chat. Goyam's Jews. Misinformation says no. Apparently, I have the most California accent. Everyone can tell I'm from here if I go to New York City or Austin. I think down south has got to be probably one of the most recognizable accents for sure. Genuinely confuses outside of the Chicago suburbs. Gabby Girl says, Midwest gang. Cammy is Nebraskan. My pal Sal's from Michigan. Ginger People says, Wisconsin is beautiful outside, warm. There's nothing better than a Milwaukee summer. I do miss living in Milwaukee. It's an underrated city, in my opinion. Jennifer says, West Texas accent. What's up, y'all? Is that what it is, Jennifer? Q Essence says, love lacrosse. That's a beautiful place, too. Angela says, Florida sunsets. Cracked Pot Christian just subscribed. Thank you for joining the Hive and for tuning in. Let me adjust that font so they don't get all messed up like that. I got to just change the size. Amanda Mosley's from Arkansas. Cammy's in Nebraska. Joni's in Louisiana. You guys say y'all a lot. I almost moved to Shreveport when I was in 6th grade. I've shared this before. My father was a gun salesman, and we almost had to move. This is back in, oh man, so what year would that have been? So I graduated high school in 2012. So like this is back in like 05, 06. And it was so weird. My dad, he worked from home in 2006 and we didn't have to move. I just thought that was the weirdest thing. Like now working from home is very normal, but yeah, my dad was a gun salesman and he sold to the Air Force, a lot of like the Cabela's, the Bass Pro Shops. So we'd go shooting a lot. Not a big hunter, played football, so I couldn't really get out during deer season that much because our team was good. I like to flex that a little bit. Like, well, yeah, your dad was a gun salesman, but you don't hunt. I'm like, well, we were always really good, so we didn't go. And then when I got older, to be honest, I just like going to the range. I don't get there often enough at all, but Nobody's NBA says, I live in the portal to hell, Idaho. May God have mercy on you. But I'm in the native country, so we moved around a lot, though, so I don't think I have an accent. Just boring. Sherlock Rome says, Jeffrey and Charlie are cooking eggs and bacon on some island right now, laughing, surfing, and sunbathing. Wait, Epstein and Charlie Kirk? Sherlock? You think? You guys think Charlie's alive? You think we watched a complete psyop? That theory has gotten so much traction. Oh, not an NPC says you got 250 acres to hunt. That's awesome. Sherlock says, oh, hell yeah. Verity says, I have normal, boring English accent. Misinformation says, you think they're both alive. January says, yes. Lisa Stewart says, along with Brian Laundrie. Have I ever shown my Brian Laundrie video, my theory, where I made an entire full-ass flowchart of why I think Brian Laundrie is alive? It was like my second TikTok that I ever posted. UFO dog sad they don't have a southern accent. You guys want to see the Brian Laundrie video? I can play it quick. All right. It was my first video back before I was even streaming on YouTube. Let me see it. Let me pull this up. So I mean, I've gone deeper on this case. That's going to be a case that we dive into. The other thing that I'm really starting to keep an eye on is the Scott and Lacey Peterson with Scott's case and the LA Innocence Project. I have a lot of TikToks that when I was new on TikTok and I was a pussy that I just put on private for the Scott Peterson case. And I'm just curious to go and what those will look like after this Innocence Project. I'm not saying that I think he's 100% guilty. I just think that there's an argument to be made for a lot of the things that the media said made him guilty. You know what I mean? Like he could very well be guilty. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying the things that he pointed out, the things that the news pointed out. I mean, if somebody really loved Scott, they should have knocked his ass out and talked to him and said, you need to go back to preschool to learn self-awareness and what the media is doing. But okay, here's the Brian Laundrie video.
I don't know if I'm right, but I will say there's obviously a lot of discrepancies.
Uh-oh.
And
One second.
I'm telling you,
I got to open this thing. This was back in my TikTok days. All right, you guys should be able to hear it now.
I'm telling you that Brian Laundrie was never at his parents' house the entire time. And I'm going to explain to you in a step-by-step like flow chart on why I think that. This is just my opinion. I don't know if I'm right, but I will say there's obviously a lot of discrepancies, and I think that this timeline makes a lot more sense than the official story. So starting over at box one, right? We know that Gabby's last texts were found between August 27th and 30th. You got to remember, Brian's probably in panic mode. Like he just offed his girlfriend or his fiance. And I believe it shows by him sending fake texts from Gabby's phone. He's frantically calling his parents. I do think at some point on the phone with his parents, they probably told him to like get a burner phone and that they're going to come meet him somewhere. And that's when Brian started traveling. And that's when they saw him on camera when he was traveling using Gabby's debit card. Then I think when they meet up, Brian probably hops in with one of his parents and the other parent drives the van home so that it's not suspicious. And at some point, because Brian had all of his camping stuff, I think that they dropped Brian off somewhere and he was camping out the entire time and went into hiding right after rendezvousing. I also think too that when Gabby's mom said that Brian's mom had blocked her and her message turned green, I really think that that's when Brian's parents were probably driving somewhere where they didn't have cell service to go meet up with Brian. And
do you guys remember that in the documentary? You know that I have Charlie Kirk's photo on this for banned theories, but it was kind of meant to just be all these theories that people aren't allowed to say. When Gabby's mom was giving the interview and she's like, well, yeah, her phone, when I texted Brian's mom, it turned green, almost like she blocked me. I don't think that she blocked her. I think that they were driving somewhere with no service. I think they met Brian halfway, they rendezvoused, and that's how the van got back home. I think they switched out cars.
She was never blocked. The message just didn't go through. Then the parents are obviously going to go ahead and get a defense attorney all ready to go. And that's where the van shows back up at home, but Brian's never there. The cops try to talk to him. At that point, the attorney has advised them, just tell them that you have an attorney. Brian doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to see them. It's all legal, like protection. Also, real quick, I think that the burn after reading letter being found was a mistake by his mom. And I think she sent that way before any of this ever went down. And Brian never burned it. And then when she got the van home and unpacked his stuff to make it look like he was there, she never expected that letter to be in all of the stuff for the police to find later on when they searched it. So going back to box two, when I said that I think Brian was already in hiding, I think he was camping at this site that they all did this camping trip to. Brian had the means and the resources and the knowledge to be able to survive out in the wild. I think that his family rendezvoused with him to have a final goodbye, finalize their plan, give him a bunch of money, supplies, and anything that he would need to go on the run. And his sister and her husband are just playing stupid after getting advice from the lawyer, saying, we were only there for a few hours. We had to take our kids back home because they had school, blah, blah, blah. No, that's legal talk. This is where I speculate, but I think that that dude got out of here on a boat. Northport, Florida has a ton of marinas. It's only a couple hours away from any international waters. Plus the Bahamas are, I think, like 50 or 100 miles away only. And you wouldn't need a passport to get into the Bahamas. So he could have gotten there and then had access to going pretty much wherever he would have wanted to.
Now, my theory on that is just that I'm saying once you get out of like the mainland US, right? Maybe not Hawaii, but once you get out of like the mainland, like I feel like security is a lot less strict when you're a US citizen like that in a place like the Bahamas. I'm theorizing here. I don't know. People say his Instagram went live on a boat. I've seen that video. I can't find it, but I've seen it back when it was available. And if anybody has that, please send that to me. But I'll let this finish.
There's lower surveillance. And also, nobody even knows at this point that she's missing. You guys got to remember that. It took 11 days. 11 days before somebody was able to say, hey, she was reported missing, and this camping trip happened before that. I think that the fake wellness check was then planted by the legal team or the defense attorney because Brian had confirmed that he made it safely out of the country. They then enacted the plan to say, hey, go do a wellness check. And then, oh my God, where is he? He's gone. He's missing. No, dude was never there. He was on the run. As far as like the DNA and everything found, like the body decomp, I'm going to do a video separately on that and how I think that all went down.
Not that I just want to go and show you guys all my Brian laundry stuff, as if you guys can't go on my TikTok and watch this, but that's weird. You can't find my account. This is this is the video that started it all.
Never was at his parents' house. Dude, Brian Landry never was at his parents' house. He was never there. He never went home. The body cam footage where the cop is asking his parents if he can talk to them, and they're like, no, 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 he's not going to talk to anybody. We have an attorney, I believe, was planned out. He was never there. Here's why I think that. I think that in the 11-day time frame, right, where her parents aren't hearing from her, I think that, and they showed this, that Brian had been frantically calling his parents. I think there was a plan worked out. I think that that plan is how the van ended up at the Landry's residence. I think that his parents probably met him halfway. I would even speculate that when Gabrielle's mom texted Brian's mom and it went green, at first I thought like, oh shit, maybe she's like driving out in the mountains like to get the van because Brian's already on the run because he told her and his dad what he had done. That's why they got the attorney. And I don't think he was ever at home, like I said. The giveaway for me was that this like anonymous random tip said, go do a wellness check. That guy might be OD'd. I don't know if I have like this weird like in tune to like people's voices or something, but it sounded fake. It sounded like he was told to call and do that. Like somebody in the Landry family like told this guy to call the police and say, hey, do a wellness check on Brian. Then the police show up and it's like, boom, Brian's gone. And everyone's like, how the hell did he get away or whatever it is? He was never there. That dude's probably been in Mexico getting a hair transplant long before anybody even knew he was never at the house.
Yeah, that video was posted on accident to a business account. And then we were off to the races. Also, I'm looking at this picture. It's like, damn, your boy was a little bit thick there. It was that was the end of February. It was a little bit thick, a little bit fluffy cheeks, you know. Now that I'm on camera every night, I've gotten my ass in the gym a little bit more. Started keeping the beard a little bit shorter. Not looking like such a caveman lumberjack. You know, yeah, your boy was thick. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, fat. Yeah, that's really what it was. You know, it's okay. I mean, I've always been the person where, you know, after playing college football, I was 240 in college football, you know, which is not what I should naturally weigh. So as I was losing the weight, like I was always somebody that, if my buddies said that to me, they're like, dude, you're a little bit thick. Like kind of fat shaming for me worked. Okay. Fat shaming for me was like, people disagree with that. I'm like, it was the most effective thing for me. And people also just don't agree with too. Like I just didn't eat to lose the weight. Like I did it so, you know, crash dieted, get this football weight off me, you know. Aubrey J asks, do we know what his parents do for a living or did for a living? You know, I used to know that. I can't remember it off the top of my head. Does anybody know? I know. But I was not fat. You know, I actually, nah, I mean, whatever. People are gonna be like, you're living in the glory days. I mean, I had the back squat record at the school that I went to for 1 rep max. I think for at least for my position group, which was linebacker, I think it still holds today. Obviously that was 20, that would have been what, 2015? Teacher and janitor is what they did. All right, Shane. You know, I said that the fat shaming helps. Now you're just kind of being an asshole. Oh, man. Yeah. But yeah, that was the video that kind of started it all. And a lot of people don't know also about the autopsy with Brian Laundrie, which I covered very extensively. And I'll show that here too. It's actually kind of nice that that TikTok is not super quiet, you know. That's funny. Just a meathead. We in college every year after fall camp, every position group would do a case race, which I'm sure everybody knows what that is. You know, it's 3 people to a 30 rack or 2 people to a 30 rack of beer. The linebacker group, we did a rum race. So we did a handle of Admiral Nelson for 3 people. and it came out to 2 full solo cups of Admiral Nelson. And it was like a tradition. The freshmen typically always won, and like you couldn't puke for 30 minutes, whatever it was. The record for that is like 2 minutes and 5 seconds or something, if I remember right. It's just disgusting. It was not pretty after the fact. The other cool thing too, guys, I'm allowed to say this. I was in contact with I think I said this one time. Has anybody seen the Fox Hollow documentary, The Murders at Fox Hollow Farms, with Hulu? Their producers reached out to me, and to say the least, this is all I could say is they're going back to Fox Hollow, and they're looking into her. I'll just leave it at that, which is pretty cool, because I posted a shit ton on Fox Hollow. They were saying they never expected, social media to help it up, and I'm like, damn, that's kind of crazy, because I called Jeff Jellison. I'm convinced that Rob Graves is fucking her Baumeister, guys. Like, I'll show you guys this.
Cops, watch this. Bro.
Tell me that
Nose,
doesn't look
lips,
fucking
do
so
not
similar.
move. Ears are lined up. Pupils match. The only difference is that Rob is looking the other way for the camera. But if you wanted to see what you would look like when you were aging, I don't know. I think that lines up pretty damn good. And if you don't think that crazy progression happens when you age, look at Goodyear. I'm going to let this progression play through one more time. Look at the nose, the top of the mouth, the tops of the ears. If Rob Graves grew a full head of hair, how perfectly the hairline and the forehead wrinkles match up. Deadass. This.
Like I think back to some of the shit that I was putting out on TikTok, and I'm like, damn, they really just give anybody a phone and say, put this out into the world. Just, it's kind of awesome. People, you gotta remember you have free will. You do whatever you want. There's a couple other ones too. Again, not that I plan on showing everybody my TikToks, but I saw some people in here that they said they don't. Here's another one that went mega viral, is right here.
I think Shanann walked in on Chris and Nicole in bed when she got home from that business trip. Nicole's phone pinged near the Watts residence at like 6:15 in the morning. Like, what if she was in the house the entire time? And from that time that Shanann got home until her phone pinged, either was off or she never plugged it in and charged it and the phone died, and they were planning on how to dispose of these bodies. I mean, think about it. Things would escalate. They get out of hand. Chris ends up, or Nicole ends up, unaliving Shanann. The kids witness it. They're obviously dealt with, unfortunately, in that manner. But then that would explain the frantic deleting of search histories, and can cops track text messages that Nicole did. And it also would explain the site on where the bodies were chosen to be disposed of. Did you guys know that Nicole actually was the geologist for the same company that Chris worked at, and that specific site was one of her locations? I think Shanann.
So one of the arguments people make for this is like, well, Chris would know when Shanann was going to be home. And I'm like, yeah, well, not if all the blood had rushed to his, where, if he's getting it on with Nikki. Maybe they've passed out. They fell asleep afterwards. Who knows? Maybe it was entirely planned out. I don't know. Right. But if her flight was delayed, which I believe that it was, who knows? Guys, look, sometimes we forget a lot of shit that our wives tell us. A lot of stuff, and bless you ladies that keep your husbands in check, or your partners in check, for if you're the partner that has to be the reminder. you know, on behalf of all of us that need to be reminded constantly, like, thank you for your service. You know, like we couldn't function without you guys. The calendar people, the people that are reminding it that they know not only your schedule, but they have to deal with theirs too. You know, we appreciate that. I appreciate that. Because I'm somebody that's like, you know, gonna go hang out with I'm gonna go hang out with my buddies. What are you guys doing? I don't know. Where are you gonna meet? No idea. Well, where are you going? We're just gonna I'm just going over to his house right now. We're just gonna see what happens, you know, and then we might go golfing. We might go to a golf simulator. Okay. What'd you do? We just hung out. You know, it's like one of my favorite first memories with Mrs. Birdie. We went on a vacation to Fort Myers, and we were laying on a beach, just relaxing in the sun, and there was like, I think she had said there was like this group of girls that walked by, you know, in their bikinis and whatnot, and she was like, oh, you know, this is right when we first started dating. She's like, he's probably like staring at them or whatever, and I didn't even know that she was looking at me, and I turned to her. And instead of talking about the girls in the bikinis, I go, do you think that dolphins think of themselves the way that we think of ourselves? Like, do they know, like if dolphins had a mirror, do you think they would know that that's them? Like I sometimes I hold my cat up to the mirror and I'm like, that's you. Do you think that they know that that's them? Like, that's me. Do you think that they have the thought of that's me? And I think at that moment, she probably knew. She's got like, what do they say? Like the golden retriever husband where he's probably thinking about her. It's like, no, I'm obsessing over how 9/11 was an inside job or something like that. We had to, we took out the wave runners, and if you've ever done the wave runners in the ocean, you have to pass like a basic boater safety thing, or at least we did. We had to do like a Scantron. And what's funny is we have a jet ski, but at this time we didn't. So I had already known boater safety though. So I filled mine out real quick, and I look back at Mrs. Birdie, and she's like, you know, hand on her head like a test, like staring at this, and me and the guy who was working the jet ski, I'm like, oh no. I go, what happens? Like, we already paid. Like, what happens if she fails? And he's like, she'll be fine. So, you know, after like 5-10 minutes, we're like, hey, you're fine. You know, it's like, you're fine. And then immediately after she gets on the wave runner, we took out 2 separate ones. You go like 2 miles off the coast too, or maybe a mile. She's just hauling ass. She's such a little person. That wave runner was flying. And I could just hear her like laughing, just like cackling away, laughing. It was awesome. Let's see what else we got. This one went, how deep I've gone down rabbit holes. I'm convinced that both of the world wars were really just to erase the old world, and that there was an entire narrative scripted around who the bad guys were, who the allies are, and it was really meant to just destroy all of these beautiful cities. They took out all of the bells. If you guys haven't looked into why there would be bells in public spaces, and the healing properties and the harmonious properties that these churches and all the architecture was built in. Okay, it's sacred geometry, and it's not unrealistic that they started 2 world wars and put, at the time, our best men in every single country lined up across each other because they wanted to take out the most brave and quote-unquote prestigious men for every country, knowing that all of them would want to go to war. Yeah, this is the one that there's a super I don't even know which Instagram it is, but that was the one that all my buddies, they started sending this to me. They're like, dude, is this you? And I was like, you know, not that I haven't told my buddies about, you know, the stream and whatnot, but I didn't tell them about specific content or stuff that I put out. And the caption is like, this man disappeared and they silenced him for this statement. And I look at it, I go, oh my God, that is me. Then I've seen it like 10 or 12 times on different people that they don't post the original one. They post the guy. excuse me, they post a guy who said, "This man has been silenced and nobody's seen him since." And I'm like, no, I'm right here. A couple of people started following me with that one. It's kind of cool to see how it's progressed and how, certain people, at what point they came into the hive. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that I've been cloned. Why is that? I saw like 5 last night. Is that because of the thumbnail where I said Brian's guilty AF? Yeah, I need to wait like 60 more days on TikTok. I'm not going to post anything other than super safe clips. So if you guys noticed, I got a handful of clips pages now that some people in the hive are helping me out with. If you're interested in doing something like that, if you're interested in starting like an official clips page, please do not hesitate to reach out to me or Dawn. I have no problem with that. It's just we're kind of getting that set up to kind of spread the word so that it's not just reliant on my profiles pushing it out. It's not to make a fake Birdie profile. There's Birdie Bombshell 9. I have no idea who that asshole is that can't get their profile down. But for the clips pages, like those would be, kind of your guys' thing, and I would help you do that. But if nobody wants to, that's great. But just putting that out there. All right. Let's see. What shall we dive into? Nice misinformation. Appreciate that. Said, oh man, that would be fun. I'm interested potentially. I worked on clipping a couple years ago. Nice. Sherlock says, it's because you have those trauma clone replacement eyes, Birdie. Do I? Tracy says, Birdie's a buzzword. I see what you did there. Oh, the JJ UK says John Benet Ramsey. It's so interesting. Like, I have a John Benet Ramsey one. It's kind of funny. Like, I could just go and pull these up instead of explaining them here, just because these are probably more articulated. Let's see if I could find it. That's funny. Come on. Here we go. Has anybody ever heard the whole John Benet Ramsey thing and Katy Perry? I believe it. I believe they do that. This is the theory in a nutshell, but it's that John Benet Ramsey, the 6-year-old beauty queen whose mysterious unaliving in 96 captivated and horrified the nation, wasn't actually unalive. She was supposedly kidnapped or hidden away and then later re-emerged as pop star Katy Perry. This theory took root around 2014 and 2016 and gained traction on YouTube and fringe websites. So what's the evidence that supporters point to? Well, their physical resemblance. People compare childhood photos of John Benet to younger images of Katy Perry and claim striking similarities in their eyes, eyebrows, and facial structure. The side-by-side is circulating as proof. The parents look similar. Perry's rise to fame for her use of occult or Illuminati-esque imagery in music videos and performances, especially the Super Bowl halftime show, is cited as evidence she was chosen. Yes. The idea that John Benet was a child of the elite, and after faking her unaliving, she was trained to become a pop star asset. That one's trippy. That's a deep, deep rabbit hole. I mean, that one is a very, very wild and eerie theory. The other one that, and again, I'm not saying that I fully believe, well, I did say I believe it. I don't know. I believe anything, right? One of the things that I thought about was if it was like a photographer or a lot of people say too, there was like some nefarious stuff going on with her own father, and it's just disgusting. Those cases with kids are so hard to talk about for me, because it's just like you have to theorize in almost like a mindset of just disgust, like it's hard to think clearly like that. And there's just so many oddities amongst the parents. follow the money and then follow the parents, follow the wives, things like that. You know, it's just really hard to, for at least for me. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but it's just, I don't know. Do we have anybody in here that thinks chemtrails are fake? Can we agree or disagree on chemtrails? Are those things real? There's contrails, there's chemtrails. That's my opinion. I think they're absolutely spraying our skies. You could see it when they do it, at least where I live. It'll be it'll be a beautiful sunny morning, and then they fly and they cross hatch and they do all this shit, and then overcast every time. Yeah, real. Agree. Yes. They do it in the UK. Oh, yeah. Verity says, once your baby's here, it'll be even harder. I struggle with it. I can't. Yeah. Can't imagine. Aubrey J says, SRM, solar radiation modification. Oh, no. Brian Rambles says no. Common sense, cold and heat. Oh, that's a contrail. There's a difference, Brian. There's a difference. Here, I'll show you. Okay. So there's a contrail which will disappear behind the plane. Okay. So like, see this? Oh, you can't see it because of the chat. Like, see this picture down here? Right here, this one. See how it kind of disappears behind the plane? But then see these, how they stay? And then it'll turn overcast. They do it in a way that's like laying a grid. You know, and this is just not natural. Contrails are real. That is, you know, heat and cold. Absolutely. You could tell the difference when you see a plane that's spraying and when one's not. Cloud seeding's real. Absolutely. But cloud seeding, I don't know, guys. It's just these people that run the world. Yeah. Oh my God. It's like in Sydney, they go, the Boeing 787 emits an incredible contrail. Well, maybe that is. I don't know. That certainly looks like it's spraying a bunch of shit. I bet YouTube's got a good video on it.
So, you've seen those long smoke lines in the sky and wonder what they are. Well, some may simply be just vapor contrails, but when you see long vapors, sometimes checkerboarding the sky you're under, they're known as chemtrails. Most people don't know that these trails are loaded with heavy metals and that they have been measured in the water and air at several different worldwide locations and are threatening the health of you, your family, and even the environment. To explain the difference further, contrails are the result of a jet engine vapors condensing into tiny ice particles at high altitudes. They usually aren't very dense, so they evaporate quickly. They never extend from one side to the sky to the other. Contrails aren't dense, causing them to linger in the sky. They don't remain visibly seen, sometimes from horizon to horizon, or widening to form streaky clouds. Sometimes both contrails and chemtrails appear simultaneously, which makes it easier to differentiate. As some people around the world continue to report the chemtrails seen in their town or city to government agencies, the usual story is that they're part of a geoengineering effort to slow down the global warming. Or they are conducting military drills releasing streams of metallic particles to confuse radar. They are cover stories. But what are they covering and why? Mainstream media thoroughly ignores or debunks chemtrails, and sadly, most congressmen are ignorant of the issue or afraid to ask questions, just like the media. The denial of...
So you guys get the point. There's a lot of evidence, about that. I don't want to get a copyright thing. I probably already did on that damn video. Again, they could show Charlie Kirk getting his neck exploded, but you can't listen to, unlicensed music. What a joke. No. So, well, it depends. Now, here's my opinion. I believe that they have like chemtrail planes, right? Unmarked planes or planes that look like commercial airlines that do spray for this purpose. They have very specific routes that they do. I've noticed that for whatever reason where I live, it seems like they're always done right by where the sun would be in the evening. The sun is blacked out a lot. It's always behind a giant cloud wall. Should take a picture of it next time and show you guys what I mean. It's every night, damn near every night. The sun is also like white now. Does anybody notice that? The sun seems like way more white instead of yellow. The sun also just seems like way harsher. Does anybody think the moon is fake? It's a hologram. Yeah, I am colorblind. That is true. That is true. Boy, you colorblind. You think pandas are fake? Yeah. The moon is not fake. No, I just think it might not be what we're told it is. Right? I'm actually under the impression that the moon is a map of the Earth. And now you guys could say that's crazy, Birdie. Well, that's the flat Earth thing. Dude, I'm not saying that we live on a disc. I'm just saying, well, whatever. I don't need to explain myself to you people. Because that's one that people, get all fired up. But here's what I'll say. This is an interesting and compelling argument. I will show one more of these videos. This was one of the most fun streams that I did over on TikTok. Where is it now? That's Conspiracy Fruit Loop. In a simulation. Okay, everybody go outside tonight. Look at the moon. It's a map of the Earth, and it lines up perfectly, but there's extra land. If you were to take a globe and flatten it out and put it on the moon, and the dark spots on the moon, it lines up perfectly. And then you'll realize, oh, wait, there's extra dark spots. And then you start thinking about extraterrestrial. Well, what does extra mean? Extra means more, terrestrial means land. Are aliens really just beings from the extra land that we don't know about because we are literally lied to about everything on this planet? That's what I want to know, Phoenix.
Where the ice wall is?
God damn it. I'm going to give myself the trombone. Because we've been played.
I have a feeling that we have been hoodwinked.
Yeah. And Mrs. Birdie just said, can you stop yelling? Your pizza's done. Hey, if you're over on X right now, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to end that stream. Come on over to YouTube, Birdie_Hive Mind, and we will see you soon. Shane F says, I'm reading on a subject that the planets are not as advertised. Mercury is Venus and Saturn and Wait, what is it? Mercury is Venus / Saturn is Neptune kind of thing. Goyam's News, thank you for the super chat. Have I checked out about July 22nd, 2011 in Norway? No, you want me to I can Google that. Shane, explain more. What do you mean? Like we're lied to about what planets are what? Like the names, or what do you mean? July. Brian says, thank you for the super chat, Brian. Birdie, I try to find that stuff about Brian Laundrie. On TikTok, you try to find it? It should be there. So in 2011, Norway attacks. Goyam, are you saying that this was a psyop? Or what? Jeez, I have a frog in my throat. Christ. There was a domestic terrorist attack on Oslo and Utoya. Let's read this. On July 22nd in 2011, 77 Norwegians, most of them teenagers, were murdered by a single terrorist. Holy shit, I've never heard of this. In Oslo and nearby Utoya Island, historian Tor Fagerland and architect Atle A.S. discussed the work of creating 2 memorial sites. Oh, that's not a good article on it. Let's see what the people at CNN say. All right. So he was this is the guy that did it. He was only sentenced to 21 years. Am I reading that right? This dude got 21 years only? M. Stokes says, Birdie, can you discuss all the platforms and why you are on each at some time? Like, are you saying, like, why do I have multiple platforms? Stokes, is that what you're asking? This guy could be my brother? No military background or training is a Norwegian, described as a right-wing Christian extremist with a hatred of Muslims. Reportedly, the author of a 1,500-page manifesto called 2083. Wow. I hate whenever I share my screen on this. It bounces all over the place. And then it gets this shit. These damn ad companies. Man, that's crazy, dude. Super soldier program. You guys think that there's a military base on the moon? Has anybody heard that? Do you guys like these kind of streams? Like, I know people are tuning in, but I have to do these kind of streams. You guys know I obsess over cases and theories. I have to do this, otherwise I'll burn out. So I appreciate the people that tune in, because I personally enjoy these. I enjoy every stream. These are really refreshing, where we don't have a plan. Like I said, it's just banned theories. So okay, good. Let's take some submissions from the hive here. What should we dive into? Who has a super unique, like, what's a very lesser known, like, what's a lesser known conspiracy? Oh, thank you, Christy. Says you love hearing me talk while I work, or while you work. Yeah. God dang it. Guys, it's like, look, I have to say it. Just take a second. Everybody right now, swipe down on the chat, hit the damn like button. Keep all these streams free. It costs you nothing to press like, and it helps the channel way more than you guys would expect. I'm not trying to beg, but for God's sakes, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm like, I hate being that guy. I'm uncomfortable when I do it as I say it, but it's like, if you like it, just press like. If you're hanging out, press like. Oh, this is a good one, dude. That nuclear weapons are not real. That is a very intriguing theory. So, Shane, are you under the impression that it's essentially like what happened in like Hiroshima and Nagasaki is more of like carpet bombing? 5150 said, beg, 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 beg. Oh yeah, you petite page. You know that's I geek out over Tartaria in the old world. Hey, thank you, Sarah. Amateur Sleuth. You rock. Top dog. Yeah, firebombing. You know, so Gypsy says UFOs always go to them. I think where I'm at with UFOs, guys, is kind of like my entire theory that I showed about the map of the Earth being on the moon, where it's like extraterrestrial. Well, extra means more, and terrestrial means land. I do wonder if we're not told about all of the land on this in this realm, and I do wonder if it's just technology that is not in our known land. You know, and for people to say that seems like a stretch. Well, think about like in North Korea. You know what I mean? There's people that they escape and they didn't know really anything outside of North Korea existed. I think that we are way easier to manipulate. I think it's way easier to manipulate the masses than we would like to admit to ourselves. You know, we are only allowed to learn what we are able to learn. We're only taught what they allow us to be taught. And guys, it's not trying to be negative. It's just the reality of it. I think that, oh, Sherlock said the time portals, the flight MH370, those videos are insane. I have to pull that one up. This is real footage too. This is crazy. And whoever released this footage, like I feel like it had to be a leak, or they have some type of huge clearance. Because it's shot from above. This is confirmed footage that is real, everybody. Watch these things that come and start to circle it and watch what happens. See those things circling it? And then, I mean, this is weird. It was a naval military man who leaked it, Aubrey J said. Watch when it comes right, and it'll come out of the clouds. Watch this shit, guys. Boom. What the hell, dude? That shit is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. Ooh, the Nephilim. That's a good one too, Mark. Aubrey says he was sent to prison for 5-ish years for the leak, and he's been a ghost ever since. Yeah, make that guy disappear. What is the Philadelphia experiment? I can't play that one. It's got the History Channel watermark. They're a bunch of losers whenever you try to show their stuff. Do you guys think time travel's real? I do. Have you guys ever heard that it's the conspiracy surrounding that Donald Trump is a time traveler, or Barron Trump is a time traveler, and that Trump's uncle, I think his name was John, knew Tesla. And there's this book. It's called The Last President. Have you guys heard of this? This is insane. Barron Trump lives in like the same address of a really rich father. It's just, I don't know how to even explain it. That's one that you have to almost like watch about it. And it's just wild. Yeah, we live in a simulation. Do you guys think dinosaurs are real? Or people hate on that one. Yeah, dragons. Yeah, I don't think that they are what we're told they are. I could see dragons more. You know what's interesting? Okay, somebody was talking about 3i Atlas stop near Mars. It came from the Sagittarius system, also the same direction as the WOW signal. Wow. WOW signal, wow. Project Looking Glass is crazy. Savvy Rooster. Shane says one of the elements of the simulation is, quote, the conspiracy generator machine. Well, look at me just kind of running right into it. Like, wow, just embracing that aspect of the simulation. You know, but it's like, again, why get mad at me asking questions to a couple hundred? Get mad at the people who are spreading lies to millions. Dude, this is crazy too. So the time traveler TikTok guy backyard. I remember when this was going viral, Sherlock.
Has a time traveler actually been caught on camera? Is this video absolute best proof of a time traveler? Now look, before we do begin this video, I do believe it's very healthy to have a...
So this video, just so I give credit here, this video comes from Minutes of Horror. Her name is Rio, says interview with psychic John Edwards with FBI agent. Okay, I will. When I get done showing this, her name is Rio, remind me, and I'll pull that up. Thank you for the super chat. But this comes from Minutes of Horror.
A little bit of skepticism. Now look, like with the man who claims he has demon face syndrome and the man who states that he has actual film of the Miami Mall aliens, I do give everybody the benefit of the doubt until more information comes out and we can say, okay, they really are BSing. Because once again, we do live in a day and age of AI. We do live in a day and age of clout. So people will fake things for clicks and views. It's sad.
My property to what looks like rob my house, but it actually turns out he is a time traveler. And let me show you that. I literally can't even make this up. Like if I wanted to make this up. It blows my mind. This just happened yesterday. So as you can see, he's wandering around my backyard. I don't know what he's trying to do. Now he's like thinking like where to go, and he actually ends up going into my shed. So you can see he opens it, goes into the shed. So I'm fast forwarding the time so you can see there's no movement. He never leaves the shed. And I'm talking on the camera. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Why are you in my shed? Never answers. He never leaves the shed. I literally was watching it the whole time. So I end up calling the police. You could see in the last one, the police coming through the front yard. And then here's the police coming into the backyard. And you could see they literally go inside. They go inside and I'm talking to them. Then they go inside again. Like they're inside there. And they come out and he's not there. And like I've been watching this backdoor camera the whole entire time and he never left. I really watched the camera the whole time. He never left. Police didn't see him in there. And like it blows my mind. Like I don't know if there's a tunnel in my shed in the backyard. I don't know if he teleported. I don't know where this guy went or why he went in that shed. Let me know what you think because I'm like perplexed flabbergasted. I have an update regarding the time traveler that went into my shed and disappeared. And this is gonna blow a lot of people's minds. And if you're still denying that this is real at this point, this is gonna change your mind. So just a quick recap. This guy walks around my backyard, goes to my shed, opens the door, goes inside, and disappears. Called the cops came, they went in the shed twice. He wasn't in there. They looked, I looked like an insane guy. The cops were like, what is this guy smoking? And you can see he never came back until the next day right here. Notification on my camera that there's somebody in my backyard, and this guy leaves my shed.
Okay. My only thing of this is I would be losing my shit. I would not be able to explain this calmly. You know what I mean? I would be way more like, are you kidding me? Look at who walks out of this damn shed. You know, I feel like I just don't know how this guy stayed so calm.
And he looks right at the camera too. That guy left my shed. But here's the craziest part. This looks like the same guy, maybe, glasses, whatever. Let's look at the other guy. This was the other guy. He noticeably aged. Looks like the same guy, but aged. So him again, and now him. Same facial features, whiter hair. So I don't even know what to think at this point. Somebody explain this. He literally left the same shed. You saw the camera I put before. There was no movement that whole night. Then the next day, this guy leaves the shed, looks right at the camera like he knows, and he looks noticeably older. I don't know, something's going on. Somebody explain what's going on in my shed. I'll be going there in about a week to give a tour, since a lot of people are asking. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, I don't even know what to think. Did he time travel? Is this a different person? Who is this new guy? Is it the same guy? Let me know what you think, because this blew my mind. If you still don't believe the story about the time traveler that went into my shed, disappeared, and then came back in the future, this video is going to change your mind. There's so much evidence supporting this theory. This guy named Matty Ice, he's been looking into this a lot. It's funny because he actually made a skit on part 1, kind of like making fun of me, but now he's come around to actually looking into this because this is real. So he's been looking into this story, and he found some crazy evidence. To start this off, I don't support reaching out to anybody's families or anything like that. This is all speculative, but evidence kind of makes sense. So what he did is he did a reverse image search, and he found this guy who looks pretty similar to our boy here. The crazy part is this guy was obsessed with time travel. And you can see 9 years ago, he used to post on blogs talking about time travel and how it works. So graduated from Harvard University, which is, you know, obviously impressive. So this guy knew his stuff. He was obsessed with time travel, and he looks like our guy. So it's like, okay, it's probably him then, right? This guy died in 2018, 6 years ago, which, by the way, how is 2018 6 years ago? That's crazy in its own. But 6 years ago, this guy died. But he looks the same, and he was obsessed with time travel. We also found this, which is family members saying they miss him and that they, you know, love him and stuff like that in November 2018. We also found this, which is the same thing talking about his death, July of 2017. So this one also says he died in July of 2018, but then they posted in 2017. It's possible that they edited this text to, you know, give him a shout out how he passed away. Maybe his picture was posted beforehand, but still a little fishy, right? It was in 2017 saying, you know, he died in 2018, but whatever. He also found this interview notes, which I guess he was interviewed and somebody took notes of the interview. And in this interview, he was talking about his obsession with sound and time travel and how everything like that works in another dimension. This is all speculative. I didn't do any of this research. This is all Matty Ice. But
so you guys get the point of it. I mean, that's that. I remember when that was going mega viral. And now what did her name is Rio wanted us to look up the interview with psychic John Edwards. Let's see what this is all about. How are you guys doing today? Any fun plans this afternoon? My mother retired, so we're doing family pictures today, which is riveting. Her name is Rio. Is this it?
John Edward. Meet Tina. Tina, meet John Edward.
Hi, Tina.
Oh, hey, John. How are you?
I'm good. Are you going to ask me about your mom?
No.
Okay, I have to talk about your mom for a second. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Is your mom living?
Yes.
So I don't know if there are conversations that are not being had, if there are things that are being avoided, if there's something that's healthcare related. I don't know what it is. I just know that there's something that there's going to be a need to have a conversation regarding what's happening around mom. And Tina, why is February important? Is there like an event in February? Is there something that took place this past February? They're highlighting February for me.
Yeah, that's my daughter's birthday.
Okay. And was she your only daughter or your baby girl? Like, why is that being shown to me?
No, I've got two baby girls, two girls and one boy. But also February, there is something that happened. Somebody passed in February.
That's the thing that I'm seeing. I'm seeing the thing in February, like the anniversary, the person that's passed in February. And who was married twice? They're talking about the second marriage or the second partner.
Second partner.
Maybe they had two at the same time. Maybe John. No.
No, it feels like I feel like I'm supposed to talk about somebody who might have lost their second partner, or they.
Yes, definitely. My auntie lost her husband at 37 and then her son at 26, and that was who I was hoping was going to come through.
Your cousin.
The cousin.
My cousin, yes.
Okay, and then were you guys like very tight growing up, more like siblings?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was very tight with my auntie who lost her son. There's 3 years difference between us, and she lost her son in February 2 years ago.
So I need you to know that the anniversary and connected to February would then tie me into your cousin, who's making me feel like you guys were more like siblings than cousins. And if your aunt is still here, you can let her know that her son came in and that there's the partner that had passed. Because I kind of feel like I have that as well. Is there anybody that like, played some type of like plucking instrument? Like was somebody like trying to play the harp, or was somebody plucking something else? I feel like I'm supposed to like plucking a string.
Like guitar, kind of like a string instrument.
Something that would make sound. I don't feel like I'm using a bow. I feel like I need to talk about like I'm almost like I'm tuning into the sound of the notes.
Could she be plucking her bikini line with tweezers, or is it an instrument?
If that makes noise, Kyle, if there's if that can hit a C.
Like, loved music.
Was that your cousin?
He loved music, all kinds of music, and so did his dad.
And then where's the J like Jack or James? Who has the J name?
Joel, that's him, Joel.
Okay. So I need you to know that they're coming in together, and let me just make sure I say this out. Where's the D name like Danny or David? Who has the D sound?
His middle name was Daniel.
Okay.
Joel Daniel.
So
there's also a cousin involved with him that's still living, Daniel. Okay.
Tina, how did your cousin die? He seemed quite young.
Yeah, he got attacked, and then ambos come. He got attacked 2 years ago. He was walking. Well, he got mixed up with a bit of the wrong crowd, but it was in the middle of the day. He was walking home, and he was attacked by 2 different people. The police were called, the ambos were called. Because he was a bigger sort of guy and he had a lot of tattoos, the ambulance come, they injected him and he passed there and then. And still now the coroner is investigating as to why he passed. We don't know why.
Oh, wow. It's a mystery.
So I'm going to tell you that before I came onto the show, I was talking to my friend Diana in the green room, and I said, somebody I think is going to come through who was killed. Something happened to them. And she said, is this like a normal thing that happens for you? And I was like, well, when I'm about ready to work, it does.
Oh, wow. So you felt this one
I
coming.
did. And then when Pete's mom showed up, I thought, oh, maybe this is going to come through here. And then I had even said to him, did somebody overdose? I was I said to Pete, I go, did anybody overdose? I was seeing like medication and narcotics. And he said, no, I don't know who that is.
Correct.
So you reckon it's with this, Tina?
I feel like this was getting ready to start earlier.
Yeah.
So I don't know, about an hour ago.
So it's like a Taylor Swift concert, what goes on. People line up from the dead side.
Who is that guy? He's just coming in with like the most out of pocket comments, but this is crazy. I believe in this medium stuff. I really do.
Oh, they all line up in the waiting room. They know they're going to get through,
and they know,
before they even start.
And they know my personality.
And I
they know
felt that.
I'm not going to drop it.
Did you, Tina? You felt that as well.
I did. I was driving to work and I heard the ad come on about John Edwards coming on, and I actually pre-put it in my car phone, the number.
So you were thinking about it back when you
I
might have
was,
been getting the
and
signal.
then when I got to work, we never put the radio on. I put the radio on, and I put the number again into my phone, and I rang, and I got immediately through.
And Tina, did your cousin always get mistaken for a different nationality or culture?
Yes, he did. Yes. Yeah.
That's crazy.
My auntie, we're Australian, but his father was Maltese, but he had a different look about him.
Because he's making me feel like I'm supposed to tease about like how people would say like, you know, oh, you're this, or you're from here, and he would be like, no, I'm actually from, you know.
I used to make the same mistake with Croat Nat, our executive producer. I thought she was an Islander woman for all these years, but she was just a bit chubby. It's an easy mistake.
Why you ruin this moment?
Did he work in construction or contracting at one point?
No, but he did do some contracting, doing some bouncing, because he was autistic as well, and he could never find any work, and he was just a bit of a loner. And then he went and did his security license because he got picked on as a kid.
Yeah, that's not it.
And he built himself up.
He showed me somebody connected to you works as a builder or general contractor, or somebody works in the field of.
Yeah, my husband, he's an electrician.
Yeah, because I'm
He's
seeing
a contractor.
I'm seeing somebody doing that, and then I'm being told that you tell him that whatever job he's going to be bidding on in the next like 3 weeks, to re-go over whatever's in that plan to make sure that he's not missing something.
Okay.
Something feels like when you make a bid or a proposal for something, don't overlook it, because it may just
when he's doing a quote for a job, it may be more than you're expecting.
Not to miss that.
What about a proposal for a house? Would that be?
No. This is more about what it's going to cost to get the job done. And I know you said he's an electrician, but I'm seeing HVAC stuff, if that helps.
What's HVAC?
What's that?
What's that?
Like
heat and vac.
Heat and vac, yeah, like like air conditioning and heating.
Yeah, heating, air conditioning, vacuuming, all that. Yeah, you know how they plug in the wall, sucks all that out.
And like
that's my son-in-law. He does that.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm seeing. So it has to do with like the boards, the computer board that would go into something that would be like tech related, to make sure that there's no increase in costs that he's not not missing.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't get your brain all blocked up with all this. Still keep it open for my dad. Thank you very much, Tina.
Thank you. Peter, you wanted to just quickly chime in?
Just one thing, and I've just...
Oh, again, all about Peter's dead mum. Forget my dead dad.
A little bit massive. We didn't speak about this just a moment ago because I thought it was too private, and I've just found out. John was absolutely adamant that I was one of 4 children, and I was like, no, I have an older sister and a younger brother.
Yeah.
And I just asked my sister, I didn't know, I'm literally just found out this 2 seconds ago. I said, John is saying we are one of 4 kids. He's absolutely adamant about it. Was there another kid? And I've just found out, Kate's just messaged me and said, yes, we did have another one. It was really bad. Yes, you don't know about it. I'll call you later.
Whoa.
I'm not...
Wow.
It was very...
Dude, I have chills
Mum and
right
Dad
now.
had terrible trouble falling pregnant. It was really hard for her. My auntie will know more.
Wow.
But yes, there was supposed to be another boy.
Isn't it amazing? Because it was only a couple of months ago we found out about the third brother. Because he was hugely successful and did well in life, Pete never mentioned him due to jealousy.
That's crazy.
But there's another one now.
John, you were adamant that there was 4. He didn't even know. And it's
one of the reasons why I stick to the information.
Yeah.
Like, I've just been doing, I mean, this is my 40th year doing this. I can't even imagine. It's crazy saying this.
Are you over it?
Yeah.
No, I'm not over it.
Oh, that's good.
It's just a hard number to actually verbalize, because in my head, I still feel like I'm 25.
Yeah.
You actually look 25,
Well, you
which is
do.
very
Bless
annoying
you.
to us.
Thank you.
But that's wild.
When you're at a show live, when you're at a live show, and there's someone in the audience and he goes, no, and it's like that Peter thing, no, you're one of 4. They're like, no, I'm not. Because sometimes we don't know some of our family history. It was such a scandal or covered up and it's never mentioned, right?
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
So I've just learned over the years to surrender my ego and serve. Like, that's my mentality. Surrender my ego and serve.
When you look at Jackie, like a lot of us, especially the listeners and the staff, Will Jackie ever find this real love that she's looking for, or will she always come up with one pathetic reason why that guy can't be the Mr. Right?
I'm going to tell you that Jackie will eventually find that person because Jackie's done the work to work on herself. And whenever we work on ourselves, then we become the best.
Oh, you're talking about the weight. Yes, that was so good to see all that weight fall off because it was quite revolting.
It's not what he's talking about.
Oh, what are you talking about?
She knows.
The inner work. Yeah. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Oh, with the...
Oh my God. He's like an annoying, 8-year-old in the corner who's heckling.
What 8-year-old's talking about those things?
That's true, actually.
John
a
Edward
14-year-old.
live later this year. Buy tickets now. Head to John.
That's trippy. That's trippy. But I'm curious. You know, I believe in this, right? I do believe in this, but it's like, is there a way that you can do stuff like that with just kind of the basics? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, he is funny. Look around, Shane says. Do you see the sun? Sorry, I'm just emailing somebody back. I have some lawyers that are coming on the show in 2 weeks. I'll announce this tomorrow evening, but you guys can get a little bit of a sneak peek. The custody queens off the clock are starting to dive into the Idaho 4 case. They've tuned into the Hive before, said that they're starting to wake up, and I am very excited to talk to those two ladies, and that will be the week of the 27th. So somebody also suggested too for the Hulu producers that reached out about the Fox Hollows that I should have them do something with the Idaho 4. And I'm like, how the hell did I not ever think of that? I have this lady's cell phone number now. You know what I mean? It's like, do you know too, like, dude, how okay, is this a lame concept? Be honest with me. You guys aren't going to hurt my feelings. How cool would a series be where it's not to say that it just features the Hive, but the series is put together solely by internet sleuths, like in a way that's not done before. I'm not talking, cyber sleuths, things like that. I'm talking like, how interesting would it be to have almost the live stream, like the chat, make these episodes? I don't know how you could do that, but in my mind, I'm kind of like visualizing this. Like, it'd be very interesting to see how we could come up with like a series, like a season of live digs into stuff that then end up going and getting investigated. It would be tough though, because of the way that like my brain works. Like, it's squirrel and scatterbrain and ADD, and I, look into everything. But it would be interesting to see how that could work. And like, if you dive into stuff, and then like, what if we had a team of investigators? Like, we found private investigators that we partnered with, and they tune in and they're just looking and they're listening to what we are doing in our live digs, and they actually go and follow up on it in person, or they take it and they run with the tools and the mechanisms that they have to where they can actually go and do it and look into it. We then kind of disseminate the information so that we're not the ones that are releasing people's public info, or they can vet it out. If anybody knows a producer, okay, like I know that one, but like, we should do that. I think that'd be super interesting. And also, it's different. It's different. Maybe it's entertaining. I don't know. But like a live dig with a team of private investigators that listen to the live digs and then go real life dig. So that, and then how interesting would it be too, to almost have like a stat line of like, out of the things that we've thought about and theorized about on this case, like we were 1 for 10, we were 0 for 10, we were 9 for 10, right? Like, I feel like that would be interesting. and then they could clip it. They could clip it to where it's like it's an overlay of the chat feed talking about this, while in the background the investigators are following up on that lead. Yeah, I know we're private investigators, but I'm saying, like, how cool would it be? Like I know 1-1 tunes in. He's an NYPD cop. There's an ex-NYPD cop that looked into the Epstein stuff, and now CBS is like reporting on it, which again is like, why is CBS saying this now that there's more questions than answers? Like, we know that, but why are you saying it, mainstream media? Yeah, I got to write that down. Dude, I mean, we could literally call it the Hive Mind. Season 1, Idaho 4. Season 2, Gabby Petito. I don't know. That would be epic. Now my brain, see, I also am very like futuristic thinking like that. Very visualizing. Anybody have any ideas to take that further as we wrap up this stream? Oh God, Sherlock. Are you going to make a video about it? Sherlock said the Epstein Hex Palantir connection I found today is mind-blowing. Oh, the Delphi case would be sick. That would, I don't know. See, now I can't stop thinking about it. Does anybody else have ADD like that? Where it's like you get this idea, now it's like, all right, well, now I'm going to spend the foreseeable next couple of free time, or the hours of free time that I have, I'm going to be researching on how to start a show on Hulu. It's like sprint phases. It's like sprints. Just always working on a bunch of shit. That's crazy. So, all right. Hey, guys, also real quick, I just want to show you guys this. Or actually, I'm not going to pull this up. I don't need to. But last night, actually, I will. Squirrel. Let me share this. So, if you guys didn't tune in last night, what I'm going to do, because there is, so this is part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is where, I'm sorry, part 1 and part 2 over here. This is where I had technical difficulties. I'm going to combine these. So I'm going to have the quick cut posted tonight of both of those combined. So you only have to watch one part. And Hive, I got to piss like a racehorse. Race like a piss horse. Wait, I said it right the first time. I got to race like a piss horse. And I got a pizza in the oven. So I hope everybody has a phenomenal Saturday. Stay safe. Don't drink and drive. Get an Uber. And please like this video on the way out. Share some of these videos and these shorts. Let's grow the Hive. You know, let's get a bunch of people in here. Open-minded folk. Not afraid to question the narrative. And I hate to say this word because I think it's a pussy word when it's like, it's a safe space. Well, it is a safe space. It's just not the weird soft version of it. It's not the participation trophy. It's the safe space to say something and people actually have the ability to say something back. You know, it's the internet. Believe it or not, when you have an opinion on something and you're free to say it, people have an opinion to say something back, right? Just like I could say whatever I want. You guys can say whatever you want. And just like people want to say that this is bullshit, how we look into conspiracies and blah, 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 blah. Well, then I can tell them that I think that, you know, they're just very unthought provoking and that I'm very happy I don't have their brain. And I think that their life would be very boring with a mainstream media mindset brain. So nonetheless, I love you guys. I hope you all have a great day. I will see you tomorrow evening in the Hive, 7 p.m. Central. Cheers.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life.